It's the Jim Fannin Show. We've come to take your mind.
Am I still on? Here we go. Max Bernier is my guest. We're talking everything politics, Canadian politics. We'll have them just over a half an hour here. Buckle up and welcome aboard. And this is where you find them on the Twitter. This is the way, and all the links should be in the show description below. This is the party website, and he's got some Instagram. It's the party's Instagram and whatnot. Max, I really appreciate your time. I know you're pretty busy. Are you tired of talking about politics yet? Thanks for your time, and welcome back, brother.
Thank you, Jim. Very pleased to be with you. It's always fun.
I guess I got to start right off the bat and go, what happened, man? Jesus, we had one. I say we, I mean, I'm only a voter. I've never really been more involved than just a bystander, but you were at 1%, you jumped to 5%, and then, geez, we lost all the steam, and we lost 700,000 votes and back down to 1%, man. Like, what happened?
Yeah, that election for us, we wanted that election to be a discussion about mass migration in Canada. And that was not the case. All that was, a referendum. That was not an election. That was a referendum on the 51st state, usually. And Carney played very well his game, telling Canadians that our country is in danger. We may not be a sovereign country anymore. Trump wants to destroy our economy. And so we need to fight, and we need to impose on Canadians more taxes and counter tariffs. So that was all about, that narrative. And the mainstream media did help Carney with that. Every day that was about Trump and the 51st state. And actually, Polyev played the same game also. But if you take the time to read The Art of a Deal, that's the way that President Trump is dealing and having negotiations with his future partners. That was he did with European countries. He did impose tariffs. And after that, he said, okay, 90 days pause. He did that to us instead of, just relaxing and not impose counter tariffs. We did impose counter tariffs. It is hurting us and our economy. And we know that we cannot win a trade war against the US. But that being said, that was the discussion of this election, and we wanted the discussion to be on the real subject, real policies with real solutions for Canadians. And that was not the case. So for us, it was difficult. It was difficult for the Green Party. It was difficult for the NDP. It was difficult for the Bloc Québécois. So it was an extreme polarization of the votes, between two mainstream political parties, the Conservatives and the Liberals. So that's why I said it was a kind of a referendum and not an election. But that being said, the People's Party will be there. It took 8 elections for Nigel Farage in UK to be elected in Parliament.
Yeah, I saw that today.
It won't take 8 elections for us. Next time we'll be
Mhm.
there with the same platform, the same ideas. And when Canadians will be ready, we will be there.
Do you feel like you mistimed the jump shot as far as the topics go? Hey, immigration's at the top of my priority list as well. But the electorate seemed to be queuing into the economy, into jobs, into taxes and cost of living and stuff like that. I know you made it your focus to focus on immigration. Are you sorry you didn't spend more time on cost of living and jobs? Because that seems to be the top two issues that they voted on.
Yeah, I spoke about that actually. I was the only one saying we need to balance the budget. We need to cut the spending. We need to be able to lower taxes, but with real surpluses and not by borrowing money like the conservatives and the liberals said. So we worked, and when speaking about immigration, it's the cost of living also, because as you know, we have the housing crisis in our country. The way to solve that for us was to have that moratorium on immigration. When I was speaking about immigration, I was speaking also about the economy. I said that our standard of living went down the last 10 years because of mass immigration. But, the preoccupation of Canadians was to keep their country united, to keep Canada a sovereign country. But for me, I said Trump is not serious about the 51st state. The Canada is a sovereign country, will stay a sovereign country, and our problems are not because of Trump. Our problems are because of big fat government in Ottawa that is spending money that we don't have and with bad policies. And they are responsible, the conservatives and the liberals. So that was the discussion that we had with voters. But actually, we will see if Carney can keep this country united. Because if you saw after the election, Danielle Smith said that she's very serious. She wants a referendum on the 51st state or the separation, and we may have a referendum in Alberta in a year. And she's doing that to have a strong negotiating power with Carney, to tell the federal government and Carney to respect our constitution and give more autonomy to Alberta and every province. So that will be a huge the discussion about the unity in the coming weeks and months.
My mother would always say when I lost a real estate deal, she was my manager, and I come in and I said, I did everything right. And she'd go, no, you didn't. It's your fault somewhere. So since you're the man at the top, and we've talked about, how do we differentiate ourselves from the other parties? We talked about proportional representation and carving out pieces of policy and planks that you can use to gain loyalty and to attract voters that will never leave you, no matter what. Are you looking inward at all and saying, hey, this is my party. I'm the top dog. I call all the shots here. Next time I'm going to what? I don't know. I mean, we've talked about having, a war room that's got the likes of a Kinsella in it. I know you don't like Warren Kinsella, but he's, and I said this to you off air, the Liberals, like them or not, have some absolute political geniuses in their war room, right? They made a broomstick, basically IQ-wise, of Justin Trudeau, prime minister, kept him in there for 10 years, and then they appoint Trudeau 2.0 and get him in. I never thought they could get this done. So much respect to the Liberal Party. They've got the dogs in the war room. I'm just wondering if you're feeling dude, you know what? Next time I gotta let go of this, or I need to hire someone else, or I gotta,
I like your question. It's a fair question. But what I want to tell you is we are a different political party. We don't do survey and polling and focus group, and we don't change our platform at every election. Usually when you lose and you're a traditional political party, you're going to say, oh, my message was not good. People were not ready to that, so we must have a new platform. No, it's always the same platform at every election. And for our supporters who wants us to change our message, we won't. Because if you go and create your own party, if you want that, we have the strong and the only vision, and we are offering a real alternative to Canadians. They were not ready. Like in 2019, when I spoke about immigration, they were not ready. They were saying that we were racist, but now they're ready for that discussion on mass immigration. But that was not their first preoccupation for this election. So the message would be the same. Maybe the communication of the message, you have a point there. I was not on TikTok. We were not very efficient on Instagram. And if you look at the public polls, our biggest support is coming from younger men between 18 and 35 years old. We were about 15% of support there. So we can grow by having their support. And actually, I was not on TikTok and on Instagram, and these voters, male, are on TikTok and Instagram. So I think we can do something special there. And I will have to be on TikTok and Instagram. And our goal is to start that in the next couple of weeks, to be present there and to build a presence there, like President Trump did, actually. He was very popular on TikTok, and he was able to have these people, young men. And what we did differently from the last election, we did podcasts, a lot of podcasts. I was with, Patrick Bet-David. I was with Tucker Carlson. That's huge visibility in Canada because I was not part of national debate. That was our strategy at this election. Because we cannot participate in the debate, I need to travel across the country, help our candidates, and being more active on podcasts and try to have these big podcasts. And our goal in the beginning of election was to be on Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan. So we were not able to be on Joe Rogan, but at least we were on Tucker Carlson and the other big ones.
And I was so happy
I'm very
to see
pleased
you
with
there.
that.
Yeah, I was so happy to see you there. And after running 10 elections for myself, mostly as the Green Party when I was young and ideologically possessed, I guess you could call it. But, as I got better at being a candidate, there was no one that could touch me. Even the seasoned veterans, didn't matter what party they were, they could be elected 3 or 4 times. They would get up there and go stone cold stiff and read their notes. And by the time I did my last election, I had like a comedy routine going. I was just really no notes, natural. I could steelman both sides of the issues so I could also tear them apart. And I remember saying, see? You go and you stand in front of 500 people at the Chamber of Commerce. You win the debate, hands down. It doesn't make a difference. And even if you had been on Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Bet-David, you had some great platforms there. And it turns out it didn't matter at all. No votes came from that, absolutely. And normally, I was saying, oh, Jordan Peterson, come on, get my guy Max on there. I think it'll make a difference. It never does, it seems.
Well, look at the national debates. I wanted to be part of that. And for me, I believe that Poilievre won the debate the way that I was looking at that. Didn't help a lot Poilievre. We still have almost a majority liberal government. And we can have a coalition with the NDP and they would be there for 4 years. So, you need to be out there and speak about your values, your ideas. But contrary to when we are doing our debrief of this election, it's not like doing a debrief and you're a traditional political party. Say, okay, we're going to have a new policy there, a new thing that, no, for us, we know that we have the best policies for the challenges that we are having in this country. So let's speak about that. But I was honest all the time. I said it's a revolution that we must do. We won't win that in the first election. And yes, that election was very bizarre and tough for us. But also don't forget, we had about 90 ridings where we didn't have a candidate. So our average
what happened
was
there?
0.
Sorry to interrupt there. What happened? I never did get to the bottom of that. They were nominated in Elections Canada. Why did they get pulled? What happened?
Yeah, actually, we had 310 candidates just before the election. And what happened? The day when the Elections Canada, the last day before approving our candidates, we did some calls, and our candidate said, "Oh no, I won't run. I won't deliver my papers," without good
Jesus.
excuses. So what we think and what we saw on social media, some of them were conservative, and they came to us.
Oh,
They did the
man.
interview. They passed through the
Shit.
process, and they were saying that yes, we are there. And when the time to table their papers with Elections Canada, they didn't go.
Well,
And
that, but that,
we saw on social media 4 of them after that at a rally with Pierre Poilievre.
Jesus.
That was for me another trick coming from the Conservative Party of Canada, because their only goal is to destroy us. They try with Kinsella in 2019. That's their only goal. They don't want a competition at their right. And I believe that they did that. So that's why I said to the team, this time we need to find our candidates right now and being sure that they are with us until
well, you really
the
got to get
election.
down in the mud with the pigs in politics. I get it. I've been there on many campaigns, a small level, but I've run on, I don't know how many elections total, but at every level, regional, mayor, provincial, and federal. So I guess that leads me into my next question. I guess you partially answered it already. You got to do better. You have to do a better job. I mean, you vetted me very, very well. You turned me down, and you put one of my best friends up there, a housewife with no political experience, dude. I want to hit home runs for the PPC. I was pretty bummed when you turned me down as candidate, but I'm still talking to you. What do you have to do to get? And I'm not talking about vetting now. What do you have to do to attract a premium star candidate? Because you need a bunch of them. You can't just, the Green Party needed Elizabeth May. They needed kind of like the star candidate. She had no political experience. Turned out it didn't matter. They put all their eggs in one basket. They got her elected, and they get her reelected in that very friendly, eco-environmental riding that she's in, Saanich Gulf Islands. But what do you do in the meantime? Because they say elections are won in between elections. They're not won during the election. You have to win the election now, between now and the next election date. So what's the plan to get, for lack of a better word, a star candidate, that might have a better presentation than me, even the leader? Like, I hope you're not the type of leader that goes, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't want this guy making national news. We want the national news to go to Max. So you don't come off as that way, but how do you recruit the star?
Actually, Poilievre was like that. He didn't show to Canadians that he had a finance minister and a team around him. Carney did that pretty well to reassure Canadians that he has a team with him. So that being said, for us, we had very well-known candidates. I'm thinking about Daniel Brisson in Quebec. He was running to be the mayor of the Quebec City, and he's very well known in Quebec. And, but we don't have, you're right, a national figure that will be known by, the mainstream media. That would be good to attract somebody like that. But, we are at 1% right now. That was our result. So it's very difficult to attract. Usually, if you're a successful business person, you are, a little bit, you want to go with the winner. And right now, if you look, we are not the winner. And that's why I said we need to focus. And we had great candidates, but we didn't have a star candidate. Absolutely, you're right. I hope that next time we'll be able to attract people coming from different backgrounds that will be very well known nationally. But there's no secret. There's no, I'm out there and speaking with people, meeting business people, university professor, truck drivers. But a lot of them are not national. They're not known nationally. It's a big challenge.
What do you think the opportunity might be to poach some stars from other candidates? Maybe you grab one from, a party that can't win in that riding and convince them to run PPC. Are you personally involved in recruiting and tapping guys and taking guys out for dinner and saying, hey, we want you to run for the PPC?
Oh, yeah, I did that. I'm thinking about Jeff Law in Brampton, a successful business guy, very well known over there. And I did call him and I did have a discussion with him before the election. He did run with us, very well known in Brampton. but he was not able to be elected. Uh, you know, you need to fight to be out there. It's a revolution. And, I like this. And we are in a parliamentary system also, Jim. You know that. It's more difficult. There's no proportionality in our electoral system. But Nigel Farage was able to be elected, but it took him 8 elections. So, we still have 5 elections, but I can tell you that we were going to do that revolution because now our country is not going in the right direction. We are in a recession. Our standard of living is going down. Inflation is high. We're going to have deficit. The unity is at risk, the unity of this country. So when you have all that, I believe and I hope that Canadians will look, okay, just wait a little bit, time out. Let's look at another alternative, and we will be there.
What do you say to the guys that say, I won't vote for a leader or the party that's got a French accent? They're tired of the Chrétiens and there's been they're French lawyers from Quebec. I will not vote for, at what point does Max Bernier say, you know what, okay, let's get a fire stick as the leader that can be a real showman and kick this thing off?
Yeah, but Jim, what I'm telling you, I'm the only leader of a national party that is doing a leadership contest after each election. I did that in 2021 when you didn't win with 5% of the vote. I did ask our members. It was not us, the head office. It was an independent firm. The cost to do that was about $15,000 to be sure that it's an independent, transparent process. We gave them our membership list and we said, be in touch with them, ask them a question if they want to have a leadership contest. And 96% of them said no. I'll do the same thing. In a couple of weeks, our members will receive communication from an external firm, and they will have the opportunity to express their point of view about my leadership. I hope that Poilievre can do that, but he won't. And actually, I really admire Jack Mead, who said, okay, didn't win, I'm resigning, and yeah, that's life. But for us, we have that process in our party, and we'll follow that.
I don't mean to be the devil's advocate here, but I'll play it. It's your party, bro. If you say, I want to lead the party, then you're going to get 95% of that vote. It doesn't matter who does the polling. If you said, okay, I'm out, I want to put this guy in the front. He can do a better job than me. I'll concentrate on my own riding and get myself elected. But in the meantime, I'm supporting this guy as leader. Would you ever be prepared to do that or not?
I just want to answer the question about concentrating in one riding.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, we did it. We did it at the by-election in Portage-Lisgard. I had 17% of the vote. Me, the leader, that was not a general election. Usually there's no split the vote. You don't change the government. That was a nice opportunity for me to be elected. That was the riding when we had the most votes during the 2021 general election.
Right.
I was there. Listen to that, we spent $350,000 in one by-election.
Wow.
I had everywhere. We did everything. Didn't work with the leader. So we won't do that. Now we need to have candidates all across the country to increase our percentage of the vote. If we don't do it and we concentrate on 50 ridings, we'll be like the Christian Heritage. We'll have forever less than 0.5%. We are a national party. We have the opportunity to have a team all across the country. At the next election, it will be the same strategy. A candidate in every riding. We didn't have that. As I told you, in 19 ridings, we're not able to have a candidate, but now we have time to work on it. A candidate in every riding, and we're going to spend the money that we have for a by-election. But don't forget, we spend at this election about, I don't have the final numbers, but about $400,000. The Conservatives spend $35 million like the Liberals. We are competing with the money that we receive. At the last election, we spent $1.4 million at the last election. we are spending the money that we are raising. We don't have any debt. We are able to put money aside. We are fiscally responsible because we know what we want to do. It's a revolution, and we want to change and move the overturn window to the right. And it takes time for doing that. And if you're not patient, just, leave the party and do your things.
I got
Our
that.
candidates need to be patient.
Definitely. Moving forward, you must have a couple of ideas of things you won't do again, new things that you were committed to for the next time around. The whole idea, doing the same thing over and expecting a different result is insanity. So what are you committed to changing the next time around that you haven't tried yet?
Yeah, but what did affect us in that election is the fact that we were not able to have a candidate in every riding. For the first time, we didn't have at least 320 candidates, 247. And we need to look at the process when we're approving these candidates. Something was wrong there because, they resigned the day before the cutoff. So we need to change that process. We need to be sure that when they're going to say yes, it was done by the head office the majority of the time. I think it must be done at the local level. They know their people better than the head office. We need to change that process for sure. We need also, I think it was successful, the podcast. We need to do that right now. I was with Alex Jones 2 days after the election.
Yeah,
we will do that. That was very successful, I believe. We'll do that, more podcasts in between elections. And like I told you, we need to be able to speak with the new generation, 18 to 35 years old. So we're going to have a strategy there. And I believe the strategy is with TikTok and Instagram and more videos. And, I think we're going to increase our percentage there. But what we need to improve is to have 343 candidates at the next election. We have 2 years to find that. We cannot have any excuses. We need to find why these fake PPC supporters were able to be a candidate and resign without any good reasons the day of the cutoff.
Unbelievable. Max, I really appreciate your time. Just on the way out, last time around, I think you got a majority of traditional non-voters. You brought people out that normally wouldn't vote. And we used to say this in the Green Party as well. Many of the Green Party supporters don't have a second choice. I think the PPC is like that. And I know there's been, an image problem around the PPC, this idea that they're extremists and fringe and identifying with Trump or Alex Jones or Elon Musk or whoever the Nazi of the day is. What's your thoughts on getting those traditionally non-voters to vote PPC? Because I think this time they came out and voted Liberal and Conservative.
But, the fact that they were saying, Bernier, you split the vote. We didn't split the vote. Actually, Polyev split our votes. About 700,000 of our people went with the Conservative. And I can tell you an anecdote. I was at a rally in Vancouver during this campaign and speaking with our people and tried to motivate them. And a guy came, he said, Maxime, I voted for you in 2019. I'm a founding members of the party. I voted for you in 2021. But this time, I want to get rid of the Liberals and I won't support you. And he was at my rally. So, yes, some of our people who voted for us decided to go with the fake Conservative just to get rid of Trudeau and the Liberals and Carney. And now, you know what happened? They still have Carney. So, and I believe that we must be out there with our ideas and try to reach these non-voters, because you're right. Usually when you don't vote, it's because you're saying these two traditional political parties are the same. I don't want to support that. I want a new option. We need to be out there. But what is good, if when they are taking the time to read our platform, they usually, if you're honest with yourself, they will come to us. But it's tough for people to read an electoral platform, only 2 pages on immigration. But we have the best. And speaking about debates, you said that I did a lot of debates and went well. My candidates did a lot of debates, and they were able to win that because it's common sense. It's based on facts and reasons. So we have the best platform, and we know that if we can have a debate, we will win that debate. And that's why they didn't want me at these leaders' debate during the campaign. And every election, they find a new criteria to exclude us. We have the best ideas. We need to be out there and being strong before the election, during the election, and after the election.
I hear there's talk. I don't watch Canadian news hardly at all, but today I put on CBC News World. What are they talking about? That the Liberals are looking for a couple Conservative candidates to cross the floor so they can get the majority government. Do you think that's in the works for a Max Bernier to recruit an already sitting member that gets disaffected with one of the parties and say, hey, sit as a PPC guy. Come on over.
Absolutely, absolutely. I won't take the phone and call all of these new MPs, but if they like our platform and they want to come, that would be great. Absolutely, but they don't want us. They know that if we have a seat in Parliament, the mainstream media will have to cover us a little bit more, and with more coverage, we'll have more support because it's common sense. And now this country, it's very disappointing that election. We'll see what will happen. I'm looking at the separatist movement in Alberta, separatist movement in Quebec. Maybe in 4 years we won't have a national election. That would be it. We don't know.
That's a good point.
I'm scared.
Yeah, I am too. And I woke up more bitter, resigned, and cynical than normal. You know me. I've been doing this a long time. And, my first election was 93. I can't shake it. I can't shake the disease, man. It's still in my blood. I can't put it down. And you said to me, well, you're in the Dominican Republic. What do you care? And that's like, I know. How does it? Doesn't like it? None of it really affects my life. Here, I've got true freedom. I mean, and I've never been happier. So, but I can't put it down. It's like an addiction, and here I am, begging for your mercy.
Well, that's why I said during the campaign, Jim, we are the last hope for this country. You can save this country with our policies, but if Canadians are not ready for that, they'll be ready a day. Maybe it would be too late, but I'm fighting for this country until I win, and maybe I won't, but I'm pretty sure that the time is on our side and we'll be able to win and bring back this country.
I hope you're right, Max, because we know the rules. The media's, they're never going to change, right? You can't count on the debate commission to make the rules fair. We know the rules that the PPC is playing by, and I'm not saying, I know you're a man of principle, but maybe there's an idea that you should look at playing dirty pool. Who came up with the idea? I know what we'll do. We'll get 100 candidates to pose as PPC candidates and then just pull the plug and screw them right at the last minute. They won't know what hit them. Who came up with that brilliant idea?
Like I said, intellectually and morally corrupt. That's the conservative. I said that in 2018. I was right, and they are proving us every time. They're playing tricks like that instead of trying to promote real conservative ideas.
Amen, brother. Well, I love you. I got a lot of time for you. I appreciate the time that you've given me over the years. You've always been honest and straight up. You never tried to dodge a question, and I appreciate that about you. And so on the way out, if you've got a message for any of your candidates or Canadians or anybody that's watching now, thanks for the retweet. Shit, we're up to almost 1,000 people. So the floor is yours on the way out, Max.
Well, thank you, Jim. Really appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that we can have that discussion. I appreciate the fact that you're asking tough questions. You're right. Everybody must know what happened and what will happen in the future. But I want to say to our members, to our candidates, to our volunteers, to Canadians out there, the PPC will be there with the same idea. And I want you to be ready because, yes, this country, what is happening right now, not only in Canada, in Europe, in France, in Germany, in UK, it is our Western civilization that is in danger. We need to fight for that. The People's Party is there. We're gonna fight. We're gonna be ready for the next one. Stay tuned. Follow up. And if you want to know more about the People's Party, go on our website, peoplespartyofcanada.ca. Read our platform. If you like it, share it. That's the beginning of a revolution. It will happen, but I don't know when.
Well, it might be sooner than you think. We might be doing this in another 6 or 8 months, maybe within a year. We get back on the behind a lectern and start hammering them out of the park. So, anyways, appreciate your time and your commitment to democracy, brother. As you just mentioned, or an example of wow, politics can be a really dirty game, and I appreciate that you're still standing strong and. You're not, and that's one thing I like about you. A buddy of mine asked me before, I often say, oh, why am I doing this again? Just go sell some houses. What do you want to talk to Max Bernier for? What do you care? And, I can't help but think that one day somebody might watch it and go, you know what? You interviewed that guy and you said this thing or he said that thing and it changed my life forever. So you never know the impact that you're having until way down the road. You don't often get it. And dude, you have got some of the craziest hate fans out there ever. Dude, like when you retweet one of my tweets, I get so much garbage. My God, you've probably seen this all, but this fairly nice-looking blonde girl was really making sexual innuendo about what we were going to do today. It's something about having one of your appendages in my mouth. And I'm like, what the hell? How angry and disaffected do you have to be? Like, who hurt you? Like, I looked at her profile, I'm like, Jesus. What is wrong with you? So anyway, I appreciate your thick skin too, man, because I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, there's crazy people out there, but there's more good people out there. So I'm fighting for them.
All right, brother. Thanks for the time. I appreciate
Thank you, Jim.
All right,
Bye-bye.
We'll talk soon. Ciao.
Bye.
That's how you do that. Max Bernier was my guest. And hey, you know what? If you want to get in, if you want to talk, shoot me a DM. I'm going to go to a commercial break so I can use the bat room. But if you want to get in and give your point of view, shoot me a DM and I will set you up with the Zoom link. And you can get in and chat it up if you're down. Let's see. How do I do this? I used to know what I was doing here. Okay, so give me 29 seconds, because do you know that it takes 19 seconds for just about every mammal to completely empty their bladder? It doesn't matter who you are. It's true. All right, I'll be right back. If you want to get in, shoot me a DM, and I'll shoot you the Zoom. So my thanks to Max Bernier. He's been doing quite a lot of this. I was going to pick him up on election night, but we had some technical difficulties here, and then like internet service wise and whatnot. And then I am so resigned and cynical. I'm this close to saying forget it all. I don't care. And that's kind of how I treated this election. So anyway, it was good to have the support of Matt. I mean, his crew's been very, very good at getting him on whenever I ask. So I appreciate that. But I'm just getting to the point now where you know, I said before the election, this goes just one of two ways here, right? The liberals and their media and their polling, they're all in the tank. And this goes the way the American election goes, and there's just a conservative majority and nobody saw it coming. Or, what I was not hoping for is that there's just enough loyalty in the Liberal Party and just enough people that were fooled by Carney to get him reelected. And you can look at a 5-year-old tweet of mine where I said, the Liberals are getting back in. What are you talking about? Even when Trudeau was at the bottom of the polls, I'm like, if they pulled the plug today and there was an election today, he'd win. Well, what do you mean? He's under 20%, or he's at 20%, or less than 25%. No, somehow these people find a way. Those people, these people. Are going to get canceled? Can't cancel me. And unfortunately, you know, one of my two scenarios had to be right, but I cannot believe that there's that many Canadians that fell for it, you know? So that's just politics. And I really didn't know why there was 90 candidates polled at the last minute, but yeah, I heard that they were on the website and I couldn't really find an answer for it anywhere. The PPC was infiltrated. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Claudia, thank you for getting in. I've been reading your comments here. Thank you, Jim, for having Max on your show. Very interesting. Yeah, it's called Female Voters. Claudia, are you suggesting that giving women the vote was a mistake and that and that men should never allow women to have the vote? I kind of feel like that's what you're saying. It's funny. And who else do we have in here? Cheap viewers. Okay, that's spam. Peter Biker. Used AI too and run scenarios. Yep. Oh, LinkedIn. Hello, Jim and Max. Hello, Cav Antonio Caruso, BA. Oh, Tony Caruso. Kikatsu fai, Tony. I think that's a bad language in Italian. Jacqueline. On Twitter, we need unbiased media. Good luck with that. Claudia. Johnny Wong. That's horrible. I don't know what you were talking about, Johnny. Sorry. I should be reading these as they come in, but you can't really do that with a guest. Canadians seem to vote like they root for their own team as opposed to the quality of policy. So sad. True. Thanks, Johnny Wong. Claudia. Thank you, Max, for the Christmas card. Well, I didn't get a Christmas card, but I did get a call on New Year's one day. I think it went, oh, Shimjelly Jim. 9,158,470 non-voters didn't vote. I'm having a hard time scrolling. Largest block to this day. Bigger than the libs and cons. Yeah, well, we always know that the block of non-voters is usually surpasses every supporter voter base. Shimjelly. You can't get non-voters by identifying as reform or real conservative populists don't identify with the old tired labels. Okay. Polybus Cornelius. Fear made in Canada, lose. All right. A vote splitter. And somebody on Twitch gets in. Oh, Twitch is fake followers. Wesley from Florida checking in on the YouTube. What up, Wesley? Siki Puppet. Trader. Me or him? Thank you, Jim, for having Max on. Thank you, Juliana S. Miles. And Claudia. Hello, Jim Sweetie. I'll plead the fifth, even if that doesn't exist in Canada. And Luc Bouchard, greetings. All right, well, it's a little bit hotter than normal up in here today, and I'm going to get out. I don't see any messages of people breaking my door down to get into the fucking gym fan and show up in here today, so that's just better. I think I'll go see what the Toronto Make Me Laughs are doing. I haven't watched any hockey this year. Here is the link for the party. I'll put it in the comments section here, even though it's already in the show description, I'm sure. Here is Max on Twitter, formerly known as X. And here's the PPC on the Insta. Copy. Paste. Peace, love, hug your neighbor, and I am out.